Mr. Helmke, can you tell us a little bit about what went on in there?
There's a long-spirited discussion about the Second Amendment, the Militia Act, how this might relate to machine guns, how it might relate to trigger locks, what would be reasonable, what was reasonable back in 1790. So a very extensive discussion, very high-powered questions to all of the parties. I felt good about the argument, though. I felt that too many politicians for so long have tried to use the Second Amendment as an excuse to do nothing. And I think it was clear from both the questions from the justices and the answers from all the lawyers that reasonable regulations do make sense. Now, whether or not the DC's gun restrictions are going to fall within that side is still up in the air, but I think it's quite clear that reasonable regulations make sense, and I think the justices realize that it's going to be tough for justices and judges to decide that, and that perhaps there's a sense that it might be better for elected officials to make those decisions. That's what we support.
Okay, what are your expectations in terms of what the court will rule in June?
I never predict what a group of justices are going to do. This is likely to be a close decision, and I sense from the questioning that we could see a number of opinions where we'll have to look for the common denominator to figure out who wins or loses. Bottom line, though, is I feel strongly that the justices are going to allow reasonable gun restrictions. They even discussed at one point having registration and licensing, and got some concessions from the plaintiff's attorney that some licensing might make sense, that restrictions on machine gun make sense, restrictions on armor-piercing bullets make sense, that background checks make sense. A lot of elected officials haven't bought into that point, so to have the court come down and say that reasonable regulations, reasonable restrictions make sense, that's a good thing for common sense gun control.